Hey guys, good evening. I've been excited about this interview like since we decided to do it, and I couldn't wait to bring this to my audience because what Brandy is going to share with us, the bulk of what her book is about, it's so important. It's one of those things that I call them the invisible parts to building a business, the part that you can't always see. Um,
Yeah.
However, it does manifest into the physical. And
Yeah.
that is self worth and self discovery. So I'm excited. I felt like this will be valuable to my followers. If you're joining us, we appreciate you. We thank you for coming on. I realize there is a lag from this technology that we're using. This is actually, I may have tried this a couple times and then remembered that I had it. So we did a test run
Yeah.
for you guys just to make sure things were on point. I'm going to do a quick introduction for those of you who come on and you've never experienced me before and you're like, who is this lady? And I'm going to introduce yours truly, Brandi Nichole, and we'll get started. So, who am I? I am, first of all, I'm a kingdom entrepreneur. And it's so amazing because I've been asking my clients different things like, why did you choose, to work with me? And the one thing that I was told not to mention when I first started a business was, who you serve, your God. And it has
Yeah.
actually been the thing that has pushed my business forward. Just about every person that has worked with me has said, one of the main reasons I chose you outside of other programs was because you're a kingdom entrepreneur. So I'm a kingdom entrepreneur. I operate from a space of transformation. So I help my clients in a full circle aspect. I talk about mindset, personal development, and business building. Um, when I first started, I wanted to kind of come out and just talk about business building because that's kind of what everyone was doing. And when you aren't sure about who you are, then you follow the crowd.
Yeah.
But when you operate with the Holy Spirit, He gives you full range to be exactly and completely who you are. And I knew from my own personal experience that um, your personal life rolls over into your business. So I
Yeah.
thought I was doing my clients a disservice to only teach business strategy. So I do operate from a space of mindset, personal development, and business building. My target audience at this time is the salon industry. However, I do work with entrepreneurs outside of the industry, and I help them to create amazing brands, and not just amazing brands, but with lifestyles that they love. Because building your business, guys, is building your life. And so that's the space that I operate in. My clients see amazing results. I'm grateful for that. I get divine downloads from God all the time. And so I don't take hardly any of the credit. That's the space that I operate in. So, from a transformational perspective. So, our guest tonight is Brandi Nichole. And guys, it's so crazy because I was like, now, when Brandy and I start talking, we just start doing our own thing. So we're going to try to remember that you guys are on with us because we just have such amazing conversations. I always
Yeah.
feel like I grow, when I speak with her, whether it's a quick conversation or not. So I was really looking forward to this. We haven't had the opportunity in quite some time to
Yeah.
so we're gonna be a little bit selfish too and get our as we talk to you guys. But Brandy is amazing. I'm gonna let Brandy tell you guys, who she is, what she does, and then we're gonna get into her new book, Be Chic and Breathe. Okay. So Brandy, tell the audience, who you are and what space you operate in, how you help people in the marketplace.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So, you guys, my name is Brandi Nichole, and my first function in the marketplace is I am a celebrity stylist, image consultant. and brand architect. Those are my first two loves. Reason being is because I have utilized my gift in styling my customers as well as self-esteem building. So, what I do is I actually help you build your brand, but starting with the internal things. My current title now that I'm functioning in is an author, because I did release my first book this year. So I'm like so excited. And right now is all about educating women, educating leaders in the marketplace to really grow their business, but to do it with confidence. One of the things that I've understood is that a lot of people are scared to move forward in business. One, because they're fear of the success. They're afraid that once they get successful, it's like, okay, I may fail. They may be scared of fear of failure. If I go out and I do this, then I am going to fail. Um, and so those are like two of the main places that I speak to, on top of really developing your own identity as well as your own voice. Sometimes we get caught up in other people via social media who we see on YouTube, the influencers, and there's nothing wrong with that. But at some point, you have to really identify with yourself, grow your own self identity, and develop your own voice. Because from what I've been told and what I've been taught, what I share with others is your voice has value. And so, if your voice has value, then you must understand that you yourself are a valuable person.
Absolutely. That's awesome. So, one of the things that I thought about when you were speaking, and this is why I feel that we um, just divinely connected so much, because
Yeah.
when I think about branding, it's not websites and logos or things of that nature. And
Oh,
a lot of times when I'm working with clients, I feel the same way you do. I help them with their brand DNA, like the makeup of who they are. And
yeah.
so I'm not surprised at all that the book that you wrote is about um, self-worth. So why was it important, the book that you recently released, why was it important to you to write about self-esteem and self-worth and self-discovery? Why was that important to you?
It was important to me. One is because I actually went through it. Um, I went through it and I came out of it. So many times I get people inboxing me and ask me, "Oh, I want to get to where you are. How do I get where you are?" And a lot of people think that I've gotten where I am because, I post every day, and I got a fly hairstyle and I got a banging outfit on. But no, it's because I know who I am.
Absolutely.
I'm now confident in who I am and what I have to offer. And so a lot of times, people just really, they don't really know the story behind Brandi Nichole. They just see what they see in front of them. But I went through the process of battling low self-esteem. I went through the process of battling self-doubt and second guessing myself. And when I really started to understand who I was in the kingdom and what I had to offer, I understood my purpose. I understood that, I stopped doing all of that. I noticed I begin to thrive even greater. So I said,
Yes.
I want to write about it.
Awesome. So one of the chapters in your book is self-discovery. So
Hmm.
take us through, seeing as though this was something that you actually had to go through, can you take us through like some of your maybe transitional points of self-discovery, how they happen for you?
Yeah, sure. So what I had to do was to be honest with myself. I had to be transparent with myself. I had to stop being in a place that I thought I was in, because the church will teach you, you know, you want to. Granted, the word does tell us to call those things not as they were, as though they were already. We
Yes.
get that. We get that there's a faith portion that we need to operate in, a hope, the evidence of things not seen. We understand all these things. But in order for us to even speak from that realm, you first got to be honest with yourself, and also be honest with God and say, God, here I am.
Yes.
I'm really a mess. I'm really like, I really don't even know how to do this. And I feel like, I'm doing this without you. I'm doing this without your blueprint. The reason why I went through this process is because I lost everything. I lost everything that my hands could touch. When I put my hands to the plow, like, I still lost it. And so I had to ask myself, well, like, why? Like, what happened? What type of mindset was I in? Like, I had to really, like, take a look in a mirror and really, like, say, this is a mess. Really. This is like a whole mess. So I went on this self-discovery journey, and I revisited God's vision for my life. I no longer wanted to do it my way, because my way has gotten me temporary success.
Mm-hmm.
It was only temporary. Granted,
Yes.
it built experience, and I have a great resume, but look what I had to go through to go through the process all over again. No, I got to take you back through this process. Um, part of me was very, like, arrogant and prideful. I'll tell anybody that. Yes, I was humble, but then within myself, like, I just really thought at one time I was just untouchable. I was this quote unquote alpha leader, or this alpha boss, that the society has painted this picture that you have to be this alpha leader. And with being this alpha leader, you actually have a tendency to grow a mindset that you don't need anybody.
Oh my goodness. Like, you said a couple things that were profound. Like, one, I heard you didn't say this word, but in my spirit, I heard foundation, because you talked about what you were actually building on in the
Yeah.
beginning. And oftentimes this is what I've found in my clients, and even in my own journey of self-discovery and self-awareness, and wondering why different areas of my life weren't working, although publicly it appeared that way, because we can get titles all day long. It's not
Yeah.
easy, not hard to go get a certificate, or to get a different degree, and or even a title, right? So many salon owners are salon owners because they opened the business, but aren't operating in that full circle leadership perspective. And so I heard foundation when you,
Yeah.
and so it's everything is just so divine, because even when I'm working with my clients, one thing I understand is that their foundation has to be solid. And a huge
Mhm.
part of their foundation is their self-worth. What do they
Yes.
really think about themselves? Not, because of titles, or the number of likes you get on social media.
Yeah. Hmm.
Because, and this is what I find from a consultant perspective is, you know, social media is so easy to get caught up on the likes and not sit down and
Yeah.
have a reality check. Like, I got all these likes, but my relationships are a mess. I'm really
Hmm.
not earning any money. I'm in debt. I'm fly, but I'm in debt. And so those are the things. That's where self-worth and self-discovery are so important. I was sharing when the broadcast first came on that there are some invisible parts to building a
Yeah.
business. And if you're going to take on the journey of entrepreneurship is going to require that you pay those dues. The
Yeah.
dues learning, who you are. If you desire to be truly successful, entrepreneurship wants you to pay. It's
Yeah.
one of those things where if you're going to be successful, you are going to have to walk that journey of self-discovery. If
Yeah.
you build an authentic brand, you're going to have to find clarity about, where you are, and it's at that point that you can get a great strategy, that's actually going to take you to the next level. So another thing you said was vision. So if anybody is on who's followed me, vision is like my baby. Like maybe for
Yeah.
7 years, it's just been a staple for my life, because I understand that sometimes what we consider a vision is really just some plan, something we just decided we were going to do.
Right.
A vision is completely different. It's completely different. Most oftentimes, I find that it's God given,
Yeah.
and it's based on those foundational principles. And you said resume. That was another word you said that stood out, because most of us have this great resume, like on paper. I've been here, I've done this and that, but an authentic brand is when you've walked that journey of self-discovery,
Yeah.
that you walked. So you talked about in your book, you have a chapter called "What Does It Mean to Exist?" Let our audience know
Yeah.
what you mean by
So what I'm gonna do is I can actually read an excerpt, a little bit from my
that.
book. I want to show you the book because it's actually different.
Hold it
I was
up.
very creative when I tell you the Holy Spirit really gave me some really great creativity. So this is what the book looks like in person. It looks like a notebook,
Yes.
and you can actually write in it.
Oh, awesome.
You can write in it. So just a paragraph as far as what does it mean to exist. To exist means that you are willing to settle and live under adverse conditions. You are quote unquote okay with the quote unquote make do mentality.
Wow.
It is a thought process that has allowed you to feel defeated at times, stuck or unfavorable in your situations. It is as if you are trying to compete with others, but in reality, you are competing with self.
Mm.
And so in that moment, we have to understand that this is where adversity comes to like really plague our mind and allow us to become our own adversary.
Oh,
When you're in Christ, and this is all from my book, when you're in Christ, the enemy does come to kill, steal, and destroy, but understand that he cannot really touch you, but he can actually cause confusion in your mind and cause you to self destruct.
absolutely.
Which brings me to the life factor. I have a point in my book called the life factor, which is called self sabotage.
Mm.
And so when you live from a place of just existing, you have no clarity of who you are. You have no vision of where you're going. You then start to self sabotage when you do try to move forward because you really don't really you can't really discern what's really going in your space.
Oh,
And
wow.
so to exist means that you're settling like, oh, I'm okay, you know, I'm gonna make it do what it do, I'm gonna fake it till I make it. These are all just existing mindset. You're really not living. You think you're living a carefree life because it's like, oh, I'll fake it till I make it. It's all good. It is what it is. And really that does not give you any self-worth or even add any value to who you are, because to me those are, and I'm just getting some real heavy downloads, but
That's good.
those are those are cover-ups. That mentality is just a fraud cover up. God says you just covering up. You're covering up your mess. You don't want to be exposed, and not saying exposed to where is to set you up for your demise, but really expose yourself so that you can really get the true clarity that you need. It's like you might as well it existing reminds me of that show The Walking Dead, where if you see the show, if you've seen the show, like I love that series because I get so much revelation out of it. But if you've seen the show, the government had came over. They they actually infused some type of chemical where it has took everybody out, a whole like nation out, and now the people that was once living are now dead, but they're walking, they're stagnant.
They're alive. Wow.
They're and what happens is, watch this. In order to kill them, guess what you got to do? You got to shoot them in the head because their mind is still functioning as if they were still alive. But when you look at the outside, when you look at, they prey on dead things. They want to eat the blood. They
Oh,
want to eat your
goodness.
insides.
Whew.
So when you're existing, you're the walking dead and you're feasting off of things that's not even conducive to your growth.
So I'm trying not to go in.
I know it's hard, but
That was good. That was so good because, and I don't want to make this broadcast, hey, Wanda, I don't want to make this broadcast about everything that could possibly be wrong with, the marketplace or people in general. But I do want this to be a broadcast of significance and of awareness because it's completely from that space that you're
yeah,
actually able to walk in your greatness. And
mm-hmm.
so it's so funny because that was a transitional point for me when I realized that I was just existing. And I think sometimes at some point we have a tendency to um, just do what we've seen others do and not
Yeah,
necessarily ask any questions, even if it's not working.
yeah,
We're continuously repeating what we've seen, done before without, asking like, now, wait a minute, this isn't working, although everyone is doing it. And this is why I believe that, and this is why I'm so big on um, what authenticity really is. Um,
yeah,
especially with social media because it's so easy to copy people,
yeah,
and never really find out who you are. But if you
right,
can ever in a space of understanding who you are, everything in your career shifts. Your
yeah,
career, your life, when you move out of the space of comparison and embrace the fact that we are creating with God. He's given us the ability to
yes,
be very creative and very imaginative. And all of us are individuals, meaning, we have something unique that the world needs, each of us as individuals. And when we allow God to show us ourselves, our true selves, right? That's when
mm-hmm.
we are able to shift and walk in new spaces of revelation, abundance.
Yeah,
There's a flow when you begin
yeah,
working in self-discovery. And it's a significant, I shared earlier that there are invisible parts to building a business. And those invisible parts, like self-worth and self-discovery, may not be things that you can physically touch, but they will manifest.
yes,
In,
they will.
they will manifest in the physical. And so that was so good. Even I don't watch TV, so I've never seen The Walking Dead. Y'all
Oh my god,
don't take my part, right?
I get so much revelation from that. It's so crazy.
However, it was very easy for me to make the analogy of what you were saying, and especially the part when you said they shoot them in the head, because I believe that everything that we do, it's first created in our mind. It's
Yeah,
everything's twice, once in our mind, and then it manifests into our reality. So
Yeah.
if you kill the mind, which is, the journey that many of us have walked through, where, we've been eating dead food and listening to dead words, and, all of
Yeah.
those things. So we manifest those things in the natural. I'm going to let you go with your next one. So if you want to continue on, what does existing mean? By all means, if you had something else to share, because I knew you had a divine download that may have interrupted what you were previously going to say. But of course, I got more questions for you. If not,
No, you can, no, go ahead and flow. We flowing. We flowing.
okay. So there's another chapter. What does it mean to live?
Hmm.
What does it
Yep.
mean to live?
So, two paragraphs, small paragraphs that I wrote about what does it mean to live, that I pull from. To live means to pursue a lifestyle, to create habits, to develop a specified behavior. However, my favorite is to be intentional. John C. Maxwell said something so profound with it when it came to the law of environment, is you have to be in an environment that's conducive to your growth process, right? To also to live means to breathe, seem to be made alive in your dwelling. When you are living, you are making conscious decision, which produces growth. However, when you are unintentional, you tend to fall into the category of coincidental growth. So when you live your life uncertain or with lack of purpose, you go around and be like, oh, this is a coincidence, and we think that it's a coincidence is a good thing, when really it's not, because of the fact that you fail to actually make a decision to pursue and move in your forward progression. What happens is when we are processing, there are specific key points that we must understand and must obtain in our process, which means we also should always be intentional in that flow. When we're not intentional in that flow, what happens is we lose the key values. And so when we get to our destination, we don't know how to maintain the promise. You
Oh,
get to the promise, but you can't maintain the promise because
wow.
you missed it in the process. And I'm trying not to go off now, but
Oh,
process, living, intentional, pursuing a lifestyle. What is your lifestyle like? Um, what is your habits like? What are you creating healthy habits? You know, when you live, you actually develop a specified behavior. But watch this, because this is just so divine. So specified when you live, it's so specific that one is able to identify you and know who you are
oh my,
because of what you produce.
wow. Whoa. Okay, let me hold up, hold up, hold up. See, this goes into another realm of one, why we're even on this broadcast together. But I have this little saying that talks about your perfect people.
Mm.
And so everything that you said, because we're attracting things in our life all the time.
Yeah.
And the people, the monetary, all of that is being attracted into our life based on who we are.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it comes from. For instance, as you begin to learn who you are even the more, there are things that no longer serve you.
Yeah.
And so
Yes.
you know them when you see them, and you can immediately say, that's not for me.
Yeah.
This is also the concept of having clarity on your vision, because your vision simplifies your life. When you get clarity on your vision, everything that you do is simplified. Who you do it with is simplified. You're not wondering, or of course, there's some things well, we pray about everything, but
Right.
some situations where you may need another level of clarity and you have to go to another level of prayer. But for the
Right.
most part, when you get clear on the vision for your life and your business and who you are, it simplifies your life. So,
Mm-hmm.
so when you're running in circles, you kind of talked about this before, not being intentional. It's because you don't have clarity on your vision.
Yes.
Your vision will tell you, for all of you who are entrepreneurs and you take classes and courses and things, your vision will tell you what classes to take.
Yeah. Ooh, that's good.
So I see a lot of entrepreneurs wasting money. It has nothing to do, not with where they told me they were headed, right? But
Mm.
when you gain clarity on one, who you are, and the vision for your life and your business, it will simplify your life. And so oftentimes when we're running in circles, it's because we don't know where we're supposed to head. And so without that, a vision, when you have a vision, when God gives you a vision, when you're clear on what your vision is because you know who you are, you can reverse engineer it and then begin to create strategies or action steps that are going to get you to the destination. The vision is like the destination. And
Yeah.
so your relationships, um, who you are in relationship with, it changes significantly.
Yeah.
Your relationships are like vehicles that get you to the next level. So if all of your relationships are broken, then of course you're gonna have to keep stopping. If the vehicle is raggedy, you got to keep getting oil, it's leaking oil.
Yes.
The radiator, you got to keep putting water in. I mean, it takes a long time when you don't have the right vehicles, but clarity on your vision will do that. I see many salon owners and hairstylists. I think this is one of the things that, melts my heart the most with salon owners who never shift from the role of a hairstylist to that
Yeah.
owner. That is an indication to me that they aren't clear on their vision.
Mm. Right.
The vision is going to be so big that I can't stay behind this chair and really produce this big thing that God has for me. There's a space where you have to begin to be the visionary, even if you're a coach or a consultant or uh,
Yeah.
some other type of entrepreneurship. There's a space that you have to move from the role of just being the person to do all of the busy stuff. So when you
Yeah.
said um, being intentional, I think that's difficult for most because they don't have clarity, on their
Yeah.
and who they are.
Yeah.
So when someone reads your book, what are your hopes for them? So I know there's like an area where they can actually write in.
Yes. So
So
I ask questions.
okay, so you guys know the best way for clarity is to be asked the right questions, right? That's the best way to find clarity, is for someone to ask you the right questions. So when I think about self-discovery, I just think that entrepreneurship requires it.
Yeah.
Um, if you're in if you're a bit self-employed or an entrepreneur, you're going to have to walk down the journey of self-discovery and self-awareness. And it's not something to be frustrated about. I think the quicker we embrace where we actually are,
Yeah.
quicker we get to our next level, right? Without it, we just kind of go in circles. Is there something specific that you want to share with the audience about self-worth or self-esteem, um, living and not just existing?
Um. It's so much. I'm trying to think. Wow. I would have to definitely say, okay, with the living aspect, when So when you don't live with purpose, you have a tendency to keep running, right? And you run so much that you burn out. And when you burn out, there comes a time where you have to reignite your fire, right? And so what happens is you move outside of the grace factor.
Oh my.
When you're living intentionally, you actually move with a grace
Oh
and
my gosh.
establish strength for your well-being.
Wow, that's so good.
You start to be more aware of self-care. One of the things that I recently had to learn was keeping my cup full,
Oh,
because guess what? We move and we minister and we live. And this is something, again, that I learned from two places. We either minister, live, or move from our portion or our overflow. And when I received that revelation by listening to a CD, I was like, oh my God. And now I'm wondering why it just added so much more purpose to what I do. Now I'm more intentional of keeping my cup full, because when I'm even now, when I did this live, guess what? I had to keep my cup full
yes,
because
me.
I have to, I have to even interview from a overflow place and not my portion. My
Oh,
portion is for me. I don't have to share my portion. My portion is my inheritance. It belongs to me. So guess what? When God gives you a portion, you have that right to be selfish. But guess what? He also wants you to build upon that portion and go into the overflow. It is then when you are supposed to receive and give to the nations. Because guess what? When you minister, when you live, when you move from your portion, what happens is you want to all of a sudden just self-doubt. You got suicide, you know, you got these crazy thoughts going in your mind, but that's because you got in self-defeat, but that's because you gave something away that you wasn't even supposed to.
yes.
So
That, I mean, what was significant to me is because I think in the salon industry, although, there'll be other entrepreneurs to watch the broadcast, but I believe in the salon industry, we take what we do for granted. But
yeah,
anytime you are giving or working with people, you're doing it from a place of serving. And so whenever you can
yeah,
shift your mindset to understand that you are in a place of servitude, it will require you to restructure your life so that
yeah.
you are able to pour into yourself as well. So a lot of times what I see in the industry is burnout, working 10 to 12 hours, um,
Mm-hmm.
days, 5, 6, 7 days, well, 6, 7 days per week. And there's absolutely nothing left. God never really intended for us to work by the sweat of our brow. There
Come
should
on.
there should be what Brandi said, there should be a grace. So one of the things that is significant for me as I work with clients is that I help them to work in a space of grace where they work smarter and not harder, because your job is not your real work. That's not really the work that
No, Wendy.
created to do, right? The curling hair, I mean, it's something we're passionate about. It's a tool that God uses for us as kingdom entrepreneurs to be able to do
Mm-hmm.
our work in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody really, and the craziest thing for those of us who are kingdom entrepreneurs, half of the people that see us, they don't want the kingdom life if it looks like the life that we are portraying. We're going to work pissed off, we're upset, we talk down to customers. A lot of
Yeah.
times I see people sharing that they're upset, about maybe clients and customers not doing, what they should do. Then that means that there's another space of capacity for you to grow as a leader, so that you
Yeah.
can properly, because a leader must always properly be able to share whatever their message is to the point that someone can understand it. So if you think of yourself as a leader because you're serving people, whether you're a hairstylist or a salon owner, you have to know, okay, well, I need to figure out what I need to do different in my communication style so that my clients are understanding this. Or, because we're attracting people all the time. This was huge and significant for me, this revelation, or what I learned was oftentimes we're expecting people to be and do to us what we aren't. So a lot of times we want people who will pay us top dollar for our services. When we operate in the space of a consumer, we want everything cheap.
Yes.
So we want our customers to be on time,
good.
and we're late. Do you guys understand why self-worth and self-discovery is important?
Yes.
You're attracting people into your life and your business all the time. So for every level that I grow personally and mentally, emotionally, spiritually, it reflects back into my business. So I attract a different type of customer each and every time I stand up and operate in a new space of being, right? And that comes from revelation about who you are, who God created you to be, and what your assignment is, here on the earth. And so a lot of times we go, now, y'all know, I got the word profit in so many of my courses. So y'all know I want y'all to profit, right?
Right.
Workman is supposed to be paid for his hire. He actually took money away from, biblically, from guys in the Bible who did nothing with their talents. So y'all, I do believe in getting coin. I teach my clients how to be rewarded, but they're rewarded for the value that they're putting out into the marketplace. And so we always have to be mindful, even the space emotionally, energetically that you're operating in your business is going to reflect back to you. Whether that's what's coming out of your mouth or not, your energy is going to reflect that back to you. So a lot of times and I learned this as a salon owner, I don't think I shared that when we first came on. I am a licensed cosmetologist of 25 years and a former salon owner of 10 years. And I learned in salon ownership so much, like everything that I'm teaching now, I've had to go back, as a consultant and remember the lessons and the things, that I learned in salon ownership. So this is why I say entrepreneurship is one of the invisible parts, that self-discovery and self-awareness is one of the invisible parts of building your business. So when a customer shares with us that something is wrong, instead of us taking immediate offense, maybe it's an opportunity for us to enlarge our capacity. Maybe it's an opportunity, for us to grow. What do you think, Brandi?
Absolutely. One of the things that I understand. I'm getting feedback. Hold on.
Okay. If you guys could do us a favor and share the broadcast out, that would be great. If you guys could share the broadcast out, that would be great.
What I've learned all of this is making sure that you are never in a place where you think you know everything. Because once you hit that place, when you do get a customer complaint, you're gonna be like, wait a minute, like you almost have it's almost like a narcissistic mindset.
Yeah.
Well, can't nobody tell you anything? You just it's all about you. And so when somebody actually comes and challenges you, as you stated, as far as expanding your capacity, because that's what it's doing. It's supposed to help you look, help you look in the mirror and say, okay, you know what are the opportunities that I could correct in this experience?
Absolutely.
Hear what the customer is saying. Don't get emotional. and respond with emotion, or waiting to respond and not listen to anything that the customer is saying, because you'll never grow.
Absolutely. You mentioned before that I said, why was it important for you to write a book on self-worth? And you said you had to walk through the journey of, self-discovery yourself. What do you think was at the root of you not valuing yourself, or maybe your self-worth not being where it needed to be?
On top of putting myself down, I allow a whole lot of negativity in my spirit. I house a lot of everything that everybody said that I was. Meaning, if somebody has said that I was dumb, I was stupid, um, they may have said that, being in abusive relationships where a lot of that plays on your self worth, like your personal relationship.
Man, it does.
I actually at one time was in a relationship where the guy, he actually held a gun to my head. So I'm thinking like, I feel so worthless, even to the point where this man even wants to get mad with me and kill me, or even infuse fear.
Yes.
Like just inject fear into me. I don't even think he wanted to kill me, because if he did, he would have done it. But the enemy used him to instill fear in me.
Absolutely.
So being around a whole bunch of toxic relationships and toxic people, being mistreated, accepting behaviors that were unacceptable.
Yes. So let me ask you this, coming from a consulting or life coaching perspective, how do you feel that those thoughts affected how you did business at that time?
So I can actually intertwine even my experience with you. So what it did was it allowed me to do business in fear. I was on edge. I was skeptical. I didn't trust. I wouldn't allow people in my personal space. I was afraid of
One
doing
second, I'm
business.
sorry. They're saying it's sound feedback. I wonder if it's still going on. I heard just a little bit of. Okay, we're
Yeah.
gonna move. We're gonna move forward because I think there's a delay on their end as well. So you said you allow fear.
Yeah, I allow fear to overtake my mind, which made me fearful of doing business with people. Even when I would put my product out there or my service out there, I was scared. Not to mention broke. you know, I wasn't really producing the income that I really wanted at that particular time. Prior to, yes, but like after being, abused and receiving a whole lot of information that just was not just beneficial to me, it just caused me to go downhill in my mindset, which means if my mindset went downhill, um so did my finances, which brings me to my point. When I talked to you, and I never ever, when we connected, we had been talking and connected for a while, but you said this one thing, until this day I have not forgot it. It stuck with me. It stuck with me. I carry it everywhere I go. I even tell people this now.
Okay.
And
Wow.
this came from you. You told me that a broke mindset will always attract broke clientele or broke people. And that was another truth that I had to own. That at the end of the day, I just really wasn't producing the income that I want. And now let me be very clear. Broke don't necessarily mean that your account is in a negative. Broke means that, you're living from client to client. oh, I gotta live this like how you living from paycheck to paycheck in the job world, in the entrepreneur world. If you're living from client to client, and it's like, oh, I gotta, where my next client gonna come from? Oh my God, guess what? You're broke.
Yes, yes. I call I call that operating from a scarcity mindset because
Yeah,
it's a place of fear. And we operate from two places, fear or love. And when we operate from fear, we're always grabbing, whether it's the right thing or not. And we operate from a space of, it's not a space of faith at
mm,
all, right? Um, so we attract everything that's going to bring lack back to us. Um, even when you operate from a scarcity mindset, you don't even serve your clients properly.
yeah,
You
that
don't.
is true.
Don't serve to your highest. You're just trying to serve, hurry up and serve the next person, and or find the next hit or client or whatever you want to call it, get rich quick opportunity. Um,
Hmm.
when we're operating from a space of a scarcity mindset. So Brandi actually took my Slayer Plans and Profit course about 2 years ago now. Has it been about 2 years? Because I
Yeah,
did
it was 2 years.
2 years. And so shout out to my client Natasha who made my Slayer Plans and Profit t-shirt for me. I've worn it twice, guys, and the material is still fine. It didn't shrink, it didn't stretch, so I love it. And Natasha actually created her t-shirt business from taking my Slayer Plans and Profit course. And so that has been one of the extra streams of revenue for her because she's also a stylist in the industry. So Brandi took my Slayer Plans and Profit course about 2 years ago. So, Brandi, prior to taking the course, where would you say you were in your entrepreneurial journey?
Like ready to give up, call it quits, and just be like, you know what? This ain't for me. I'm done. Like, cut, flag wanna play, done.
Like,
Done.
not mine. I don't even want this anymore. So, what happened in the course that shifted you? What would you say your experience in the course was that shifted you?
I
I
remember
remember.
laying out my foundation. It was certain tools that you gave us that actually allow us to write out everything. Like just brain dump everything on paper. Write it out. So I remember taking um one of the piece of papers, and I'm like literally placing certain things, like categorizing, because um I remember that paper where it was like you have four categories, and we had to actually input, information in those different categories. And when I finally looked at what all that I had to do, but actually strategically placed it where it needed to be, it allowed me to prioritize my time and plan out what it is that I wanted to do, and actually just put a timeline on it. I remember you told us to, what did you want to get done in 90 days? And then on top of that, I heard this quote. Somebody, matter of fact, it was my husband. He said, proper planning prevents poor performance. So between that quote and then taking your classes, I was like, I can do this again. Like it actually reignited my passion between, that and you telling me like, Brandi, you can't operate from a broke mindset because you're going to keep attracting broke clients. Like just taking all of this information and just making sure, like at that moment, I was so hungry for information to get back up again. I was like, you know what? I had to be strategic, even in what class I took in that season, too. So I had to start out with a class that taught me how to strategically plan. And that's what Slay Your Plan and Profit did for me. It actually got me out of some things. And honestly, I still to this day still use that information. Like I go back to the emails, I listen to the replays, and I print out the documents again. If I had lost it, I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna write this out again, because if I'm like confused or if my mind's all over the place, because I know with being a creative person,
Yes.
let alone a prophetic person,
Oh my
those
goodness.
two, like your mind is always going. So you need something that you can actually strategize with. Like you need a tool to use. And that's what it did for me. It actually I was able to actually birth this book. This book is actually a result from Slay Your Plan and Profit.
Wow.
It took me some time, but at the end of the day, I got it right. And I kept applying it. Even when I failed and I wasn't consistent with it, I said, you know what? I'm going back to it and I'm doing it again. Like I'm not going to stop until I get the results that I need to see.
So, guys, Brandi, I've never heard her testimony. I just want to share that with you guys. I had asked for, the participants to give me a testimony, and we just hadn't gotten around to it because she
I'm
was
so busy.
our video. And one of the spaces that I operate in now, as God has, really changed the principles that I use to grow my business, and it's from a space of value. So I immediately thought, how can I serve Brandi? Y'all don't hear me, right? I'm dropping some heavy nuggets for you guys. How can I serve Brandi? And it was to come on and let her share, her book, and her message, so that it would bless my audience. Hopefully, you guys will purchase her book. It's I wrote that link down. Is it I Am Be Chic?
Yep. Be chic. Be with two E's.
And you can, does it allow you to type in the chat box, Brandi? And then I have an invitation for those of you who are watching or those of you who are coming back on the replay. But I want to say this first. So you guys see the title of class that, Brandi shared that she took is called Slay Your Plans and Profit. So in the hair industry, slay is like a very trendy word. It's a catchy word. But it's not the reason that I chose the name Slay. So I chose the name Slay because one, Slay was originated in the Bible. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. But if you Google, you'll see just how many times the word slay was mentioned in the Bible. And there's one specific story in the Bible that uses the word slay that's very significant.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the story of David slaying the giant. So I want you guys to catch these few nuggets right here. So when one of the things about David, he refused to wear anyone else's armor, right? So Saul had shared with him, I believe it was Saul, that he could put his armor on because it was, nice,
Mm-hmm.
big, and it was going to protect him. And David refused to wear someone else's armor. So this is one of the reasons I chose slay, because I feel if you're going to slay your plans, you got to do it authentically. You got to get out of a space of comparison,
Wow.
and especially competing, right? So that's one thing. David refused to wear anyone else's armor because David was going to slay the giant. And many of your goals and your plans and things that you have, they feel like giants to you. And so
Mm-hmm.
what I do as your transformational growth strategist is I show you how to defeat the giants. So not only
Mm-hmm.
isn't a normal planning class, because many of you have written your goals down before. How many of you have written your goals before
Right.
and they just don't seem to be manifesting, right? One, if you're going to really slay your plans and profit from them, it's really your habits, right? And your habits are developed from your thinking. So I talk about mindset a lot, and I share principles and strategies with my clients that help them shift their thinking and then give them the strategies, because we can all write our goals down.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, I don't know too many people who follow me who've never ever written their goals down. but it's about slaying them and getting them done. So the next thing that David had, the reason I like the word slay, David had confidence.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another like invisible part to building your business. So one of the things I do is help you to see that you are capable. This is some of the things that I do in my course, that you are more than capable of getting these things done. Right. So David had confidence, and this is why I say this, because David, nobody else wanted to fight this big giant, right? But David knew, and this is how you have confidence. David looked back at um, all of the things that he had defeated before, right? And
Mm-hmm.
he knew. Listen, David knew that regardless of the size of the giant, if he had the right strategy, Lord have mercy, if he had the right strategy, right, and he was partnering with God, he was more than confident that it would go down. So many of you, self-worth may lack confidence. This is why I chose the word slay, and the story with David and the Bible stands out for me. So another thing, David didn't wait to be chosen. This is how he slayed giants. This is how you guys are going to slay giants in your life, whether they're your goals, your dreams, things that you need to overcome. He didn't wait to be chosen. So they were asking who would fight the giant. David volunteered. David volunteered, guys. And so oftentimes as kingdom entrepreneurs, I find that we wait to be chosen, right? When God has already chosen us. And so the only way that you can really know that is when you understand, your value, your self-worth, and things of that nature. So that's the reason why I chose the word slay. But one of the huge things that I talk about all the time is vision. And so I help you guys. We lost Brandi. I'm hoping she'll join back on. But I help you guys to gain clarity on your vision. If you aren't clear, right? A vision shows you where to go. Without that clarity, you go anywhere, right? So one of the things I do is I help you to gain clarity on your vision, which simplifies your life, guys. I help you devise a strategy that's going to help you get it done. And then we go through my 90-day Mind Your Business goal system. Brandi is joining us. And awesome. And so one significant thing that I do, I have this strategy called the RRF factor. And it's part of me helping you to define what your personal trigger. So many of you, the reason why it has not transpired is because you have personal triggers or distractions that are reoccurring themes in your life. So I help you to define what those personal triggers are so you can slay them, right? So that when they come up again, you're aware and you can say, hey, wait a minute. I know this right here. This is that thing, that's been keeping me from slaying, the plans that I have for my life and my business. And so I do want to invite you guys. I have a 72-hour offer. I am actually doing my last enrollment of the Slay Your Plans and Profit course for 2018. The timing is impeccable because 2019 is around the corner. You'll be able to use the strategies. You guys, Brandi did this 2 years ago. You'll be able to use the strategies over and over and over again to be able to really get some major things done in your life, right? I want to see people make quantum leaps. I have a guest who took the course and had increased her income by 30% in 3 weeks from the strategies that I shared with her. Guys, I developed Slay Your Plans and Profit at a time in my life where I just opened a business. I just got married. I just had a baby. And then my marriage was, going left. So there were a lot of things going on in my life. My personal life was rolling over into my business, and I had to sit down and figure out a way to overcome those things and to continue to be able to keep moving. And so that's actually how I developed Slay Your Plans and Profit. It was because I was stuck and I needed to find some strategic systems that I could use that would help me to continue to press forward even when there were, challenging times or adversity, because this is a place that many people stop. If something doesn't go right or, something challenging comes, they sit for a long time, and they get in what I call reflection mode. This is part of the RRF factor that I teach in the course. Many people do reflect, and you should, but they stay in it for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. And what the course does is it helps you to overcome those triggers and those things that are holding you back. And so the course is a 4-week course. It starts November the 12th. It'll be every Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. The course is normally $497. For those of you who are joining and want to take advantage of the 72-hour offer, it's $397 as a one-time fee, or 2 payments of $218. They're 30 days apart, so $218 would save your seat, and then $218 30 days later, or $97 would save your seat. And in 2 weeks, you would start bi-weekly recurring payments of $67 for 5 installments. So for those of you who are, you're like, I have all these goals and dreams, and I just feel like I'm all over the place. Or maybe you started moving and you know that you should be a lot further ahead. I invite you to take advantage of the opportunity so that you can truly slay your plans and profit for real. Not where money is coming in, but it's leaving back out, as soon as it's coming in. I've thrown in 2 bonuses for you guys. My Get Your Money, Get Your Life course. It's a budgeting, basic, and financial freedom course. I talk about how I became debt-free, the processes that I walked through. Their PDFs. That course is normally $197. I'm actually giving it as a bonus for those of you who sign up. And also a master life class called 5 Ways to Create an Amazing Brand. So I talk about principles for those of you who are business owners that will allow you to create an amazing brand. And you guys can go to newfullcircle.com/slay my plans, newfullcircle.com/slay my plans. I would love for you guys to join me, learn the strategies, the systems, get the mindset shifts that you need. We were meant to walk in abundance. Now, one thing that Brandi did share with me prior to coming on is that she now walks in a space of abundance that she didn't walk in before, right? And so it's 80% of building your business mental. Brandi was sharing that self-worth and self-discovery, that's one of those invisible parts, guys. It's one of the invisible parts. And so I invite you guys to do 2 things. One, to go to I Am Be Chic, IAMBEE, Chic, CHIC.com, and purchase the book, walk through the exercises, gain new levels of awareness about who you are, right? And join us for Slay Your Plans and Profit. It's the last time I'll be offering it in 2018, and you can run into 2019 soaring and change the trajectory of your life and your business, right? So it is based on kingdom principles. So it works, guys. Principles work regardless of who uses them. Like, you don't have to be saved for them to work, right? But they do work, and people are seeing amazing results from taking the course. And I'm just so glad to hear what it has done in Brandi's life, and that she's able to use it over and over again. We've lost her. I'm hoping that she'll come back on again so that she can close out and share with you guys some more about her book. Because I wanted to ask her the question, what does chic mean to her? Because I'm sure there's a specific meaning behind her calling it Be Chic. So I'm just praying that she can pop back on in time before we end the broadcast. Does anyone have any questions? Anyone have any questions? Anyone want to ask Brandi any questions? So Brandi, Brandi actually just launched her book at Nordstrom's, guys. Now, let me say what's so significant about this. If you're operating from a broke mindset, to even partner with Nordstrom's is not even going to come on your radar. Do you guys hear me? To even that it would even be possible for you would not even come on your radar. She launched her book inside Nordstrom's, and it comes from abundant thinking, right? She's aware fully of who she is and what's available for her, right? She's had, these amazing mindset shifts that open doors and opportunities because they all happen up here first. They all happen in the mind first. They're created here first, and then they manifest in the natural, physical, where we can touch them. Do you guys have any questions for Brandi while we're on? And I had a question that I wanted to ask you, Brandi, while I'm waiting to see if anyone has. Jacqueline wants to know how she can purchase the book.
Jacqueline, you can go on my website, imbchic.com, and place your order, and I will ship it out to you. If you order tonight, it will be shipped tomorrow.
So I'm putting the website to that in the comments for you guys. Hopefully did that come up? And now it should show on the screen. Okay. I see that on the screen. So what resonated with you, Jacqueline, about the book? Do you mind sharing what resonated the most with you about the book? And then I had a question. I was hoping you could come on. So be chic. What does that mean, Brandi?
So in the dictionary, the dictionary version it means elegance, fashionably elegant, right? However, I took it up a notch, and it's actually an acronym. Believe it or not, I selected B because it was my nickname.
Mm-hmm.
But when really God shifted my mindset, and He, you'll never believe this, but He said a double portion of you.
Is that why the two E's?
That's why the two E's is there.
Mm-hmm.
Double portion.
Wow.
A double portion of confidence. The C stands for confidence, healed, interdependent, and courageous. Now, believe it or not, I had launched Be Chic in 2012, but I was always wondering why I couldn't get it off the ground. And he said, the Holy Spirit dealt with me. He said, because I wanted you to understand the importance of being an interdependent woman. You don't want to be an independent woman, because interdependency requires accountability. It requires you to connect and collaborate with people and really get to a place where if you need someone, you're not prideful in that process. And he said, go with interdependency. A lot of people don't use that word. A lot of people didn't even, the editor who edited my book, she said, I ain't even never heard this word before. Well, guess what? You know today.
Yeah. So what did you say that last C stood for, Brandi?
Courageous.
I hope I spelled courageous right. Courageous, I think. Let's see.
I think that's right. Oh, we gotta see.
I put it up there. Let's see. So that is what she stands for, guys. Confident, healed, interdependent, and courageous. That's awesome. I'm glad that I thought to ask you that, but I said I know there's a man behind Be Chic. She didn't just come up, with a name and just say, "Oh, that sounds cute." I knew that there was significant meaning behind it. So that's so awesome. So guys, any more questions for Brandi? I'm also going to put up the website for the Play Your Plans offer. I think that's what I put. Slay my plans. And so you guys have 72 hours to get it for the promo opportunity. So it is October the let's see if it's showing now.
It's showing. I can
Okay.
see it on my.
Awesome, awesome. So, guys, I think it'll still show up later, even after we bring it down. So, I'm going to put Brandy's website back up for those of you who are purchasing her book. I can always come back and put the title in the comments. Is it showing that website again, Brandy?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So, guys, thank you so much for joining us this evening. You can reach Brandi, imbchic.com. Get her book, guys. Building your business is so much bigger than what we think.
Yeah.
Yes, there are strategies, that we have to implement, the marketing strategies, but 80% of it is actually internal.
Mm-hmm.
When you get the internal aspect, the mind, you guys hear me say it all the time, when you get this part here correct, only 20% of what you do, the physical stuff, that's when it becomes great, right? Because other than that, we're actually doing it the opposite. So we're working 80% of it, and then only 20% of it we're really even putting any thought in. And a lot of that is just, oh, I'm gonna do that. Oh, I'm gonna do this. And so when you begin to operate, when you flip that, right, interchangeably, and you begin to operate in the 80%, there is a grace because you don't work nearly as hard, right? You're under the curse when you're doing it the other way. If you guys are kingdom entrepreneurs, you've read that biblically, that there was a time where we were, when Adam did all this stuff, where we began to work under the curse instead of under the blessing. And so if you kind of think about, just if you're a kingdom entrepreneur and you really want to apply the principles, he said by the renewing of our mind. So there's a space mentally where our self-esteem is raised, as Brandi said, because we're going back to who God says we are, where we operate completely different. 80% of it is mental. 80% of it is the relationship, speaking the kingdom, learning the principles that actually allow us to have what I call quantum leaps. And quantum leaps occur in your business when you become the vision, right?
Right.
So there's a space when you join me for the course where you'll gain clarity on the vision. And as you move forward, you'll become the vision and you'll see quantum leaps in your business. I'm telling you, doors will open. The
Yeah.
concern about money won't be there. You'll live in a space of abundance mentally, and it will manifest physically for you. I'm telling y'all something. I mean, there were times when I struggled where I'm on my face, like, what do I do next? And I had to get reconnected back to the kingdom properly. They're keys to the kingdom. They are keys
Yeah.
to the kingdom. Brandi, is there anything you want to leave our guests with? I thank you so much for taking the time out to do this. I'm grateful. I got to hear your testimony in front of everybody because I hadn't heard it, guys, and it blessed me because one of the greatest things my desire is for those who um, who invest in themselves and work with me is that their life is changed with longevity, not just this momentary thing, but that I can leave them with something that moves over and over and over again to continuously grow their life, the life of their families. So I'm just like really, really grateful um, that you experienced that, it worked for you, and that you agreed to come on.
Absolutely.
I,
Definitely a pleasure. I just want to let everyone know this is just what just comes to my spirit is to live passionately, to pursue passionately, pursue with passion. You gotta figure out what is your call, and once God shows you what your call, answer it. You make life harder when you don't walk in purpose.
ah,
The birds fly, but when the birds fly, they're flying, they're operating from their purpose. You know, every animal on this earth has a purpose, and it does it. But guess what? When it's dysfunction, like when if a bird's wing is broken, and this is something I've been like thinking about all day, just having a conversation. When the bird's wing is broken, the bird can no longer function in its purpose or what it was designed to do. The bird was
Wow.
designed to chirp and to fly and to recreate whatever it is that, recreate the other birds. Point blank, period. And so when it comes to us, find what your purpose is, because 9 times out of 10, when you function in your purpose, that's when your frustration will end. That's when the headache will end. For me, I now know that speaking and education is my purpose. That's what I love to do. Doing hair, being a fashion stylist, that's fun stuff for me. And that is part of my purpose, because guess what? That's more so like the platform or the doorway that gives
Yes.
me the opportunity that I have. But that's not my doing hair was is not my purpose. It's just a gift. It helps me to produce money. But that was never what God intended. God says you have a voice and I need you to use it. It has value. So open your mouth and speak.
Awesome. 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 I think that's a great place to leave them, where, they have a desire to find clarity, you know. Um,
Yeah.
and if I could help you guys at all, it would be there. We operate from two spaces: a place of fear or love. So as you're doing what you do in your salon career, if you do it from a space of love, one, you're going to serve your client on a whole different level.
Mhm.
You're going to start thinking, this is their hard-earned money, this is her time. I mean, it's just, you're going to serve from a different space. You're serving from the highest version of yourself. And so what you get back is going to be, you're going to attract back high value things. I promise you guys. It's just how it is. It's the reaping, it's the law of reaping and sowing in operation, that's actually happening. I believe when you operate from that space of servitude,
Mhm.
or the place of love, you'll start seeing the next of what to do next, because God never really completely tells us the whole thing. He gives us desires in our heart. He wants us to prepare and plan, because it's he builds a house without counting up the cost. That's preparing. And then if we get off course because we're stepping out, he'll kind of redirect us, or he'll give you a divine connection like the one that Brandi and I had. And what you guys see in action now is called multiplication. It's what God does. God is a multiplier. He's not going to be just here's one, here's two. He's a multiplier. That's his ultimate desire, is to multiply things in your life and to allow you to be a conduit, right? But you
Mhm.
got to get clear on what it is that you desire to do, and then stay steady on it. And I think those steps, eventually lead to purpose. If you've placed that as a desire to know, what that is. So I think that's
Mhm.
a great to leave everyone. So Jacqueline said it seemed like it can really help with my mindset. Awesome, because I asked her what made her, what was it about that stood out for her, and she said she felt it could help her with her mindset. Wonderful, awesome. So, guys, that is our take. Be sure to go to Brandi's website, purchase the book, connect with her. She's going to be doing some amazing things. She'll have some classes coming up in 2019 for you guys. So stay connected. You hear me? You hear what I just put in that? Okay.
I,
So,
I said you.
so so you guys stay connected. For those of you who really want to gain clarity on your vision and really walk it out and profit in your life and your career, I invite you to join me. Renewfulcircle.com/slay my plans. Renewfulcircle.com/slay my plans. You guys have 72 hours to take advantage of that offer. bonuses, and you save $100 off of the regular price. Thank you guys for joining us so much. It's not too late. Share the broadcast out. Have a super, super amazing evening. And I'll catch you guys again next Monday at 11:30. Behind the Brand. Peace.